Ever since his initial release back in 2009, which is now over 15 years ago, Tumbleweed Lightning McQueen has always been teased for his quote-unquote tumbleweed resembling a piece of broccoli. Like, could Mattel have detailed this up a little bit more to not look like a vegetable? Yeah, they probably could have. They probably could have made a little bit of a color gradient, add some dirt in there, instead of just this lime green textured blob on his roof. Now, it's always been in good spirit, though. We love the expression. We love that they did this release. He's always kind of been that fan favorite, but tease, like that family member that you have. Everyone loves him, but everyone also teases and dogs on him at the family get-togethers. It's a tough spot to be in, but hopefully today, maybe the Thailand version did it better. Doesn't really look like it off the bat, but we're going to open them up today and make that decision for ourselves. This is day 6 of the 12 days of Christmas. This is halfway done, which is crazy. Let's get into it. So Tumbleweed McQueen has been released a couple times from Thailand, starting in 2020, I believe it was. And obviously he got this release here in 2024. It's not a new release or anything. It came out, I believe, in case C, I think, case B, case C. Either way, I am now just getting around to reviewing him. I thought he's a pretty good fit for the 12 days of Christmas here, even though he's not really Christmassy. I mean, you got the red and green, though, so that's a fair point. I think everyone's loved the artwork that Mattel and Disney and Pixar have provided for him, instead of just a regular image of Lightning McQueen like they do with some variants, Miles Axelrod with microphone, namely. But yeah, this is straight out of the movie. It looks fantastic, and a very notable, very memorable, and recognizable scene from the movie that I think when people see this, it's just like, oh yeah, I remember exactly where that was. That was funny. As seen in Cars. You got some other more nostalgic Cars 1 characters: McQueen, Sheriff Sally, and Mater. That is the working tow hook version. You have Todd the Pizza Planet truck, who we all forget, but he did come out in case A of 2024, and I think he reappeared then later on. Was it case F? I think it might have been case F, actually. Either way, you also have a retread here over on the right side, Hall and Gas, who's kind of like the odd one out. Todd, he'll fit in anywhere because he is, like, the definition of Todd is, out of place, just random cameo. So that's why Hall and Gas just feels a little random here. But I'll be right back with the Tumbleweed Lightning McQueen all opened up. This is back when they added the descriptor before the name, instead of making like Lightning McQueen with Tumbleweed, which if they released them like after 2014, that's totally what they would have done. Like almost kind of like Lightning McQueen with Cone. Should really be just Cone Lightning McQueen. But anyways, I digress. I think he's looking really good. They took the expression, which was probably the best part about Tumbleweed McQueen, and made it slightly better. I'll talk about that in a second, but obviously we have to start by showing where he appears in the movie if that card art wasn't enough to trigger your memory. But yeah, he's practicing at Willie's Butte because he's frustrated that he wasn't able to do that turn, and he kind of scuffles on off into the weeds and comes out with a tumbleweed on the roof, which is pretty funny. Like I said, one of the more memorable scenes from that first movie there. Not the same, though, as when he's practicing and goes off the cliff and the cactus falls on top of him. That was sort of a different point in the movie there. But getting into our Thailand versus Chinese comparison. By the way, this is the original version from 2009. This was made very late in the game, though. 295. Well, actually, I should say very early in the game. Late in the game for 2008, because Tumbleweed McQueen was one of the first 2009 releases. The 295th day of 2008 at the EA factory. So a lot of people always ask me how to read these. If it's a Chinese date stamp, you take the first 3 digits. That is the number of the day. And then you take that last digit. That is the year. So 295 and then 2008. EA is just the code name for the factory. Really irrelevant. You'll never see those change. I think maybe eventually it becomes like EAA, but super irrelevant. You really just care about the numbers there. And obviously in all my Thailand reviews, which we will get to, this is half Thailand, or pretty much fully Thailand, I guess. So yes, I think they made the expression better by adding the black eyeliner there. Gives the eyes some depth, a little bit more realism, defines them a little bit more, and I really appreciate that versus just the flat eyes there, just kind of lacking all sorts of depth and gravity and what's another good word? Definition. There we go. Yes. But in order to sacrifice for that, the Rust-eze logo has gone a little blurrier, but that's as to be expected with all Thailand variants. The decals just aren't quite as crisp. They aren't quite as clear as they used to be from Thailand. I've always liked his mouth here. It's just like a slit, essentially. Now, it's not as darkly defined as the Chinese version, but that's fine. It's just supposed to be kind of like a type of expression. You guys like my sound effects there. Moving on to the sides here, again, you could see that the decals just aren't quite as clear when it comes to the contingency sponsors, his bolt, his number, but it gets the job done. It's sufficient, I guess. The one thing I would say that's not fully sufficient, in my opinion, is the wheels, and this has been a problem for Thailand as well when it comes to these Piston Cup wheels, next gen or just the regular ones that we're looking at here. You know, the Lightyear text on the black walls of the tires looks good. The centers of the wheels look good. Like you look at straight on, like that's a nice shade of red, probably a little bit brighter than the Chinese version. But when you tilt them like this, you can see the inside there of the wheel wall, and it is just a sandpaper type of aesthetic. It looks like when they sprayed and painted these, because that's an awkward angle, it wasn't able to get it all, and so you kind of have like this half and half of red with white specks showing through. Ugly, doesn't look good, whereas before with the Chinese wheels, they're perfect consistency, perfectly smooth, and that's what it should be. But again, it's just something that we have to accept when it is Thailand. Now, did they improve the tumbleweed at all? And I would say absolutely freaking not. In fact, they might have made it worse. Now it looks more like a brain. I feel like because it's a darker green slightly, I don't know, it looks a little bit more brain. Like this is Doug Crankle vibes at this point now. Like color changer Doug Crankle vibes because of the brain-like object on the roof. You guys know Doug Crankle's the zombie car from Cars on the Road. Yeah, I just don't think it looks good at all. I mean, you have to add some definition. You have to add some color gradient to the tumbleweed. I mean, it's a plastic part. It really shouldn't be that difficult to do. And I understand you can't make it a true tumbleweed with, I don't know, like feathery, I guess would be maybe your best attempt at. Like it's got to kind of look like a just green blob, but you got to paint it better. I think really that's where it lies. And yeah, this just doesn't get it done. I think it's a little bit bigger, like it comes down a little bit further there. I don't know, it looks thicker. I think it looks worse personally, but really neither are good. I mean, the floor was already so low. Yeah, the gas cap, though, I would say looks better. I think they made that stand out a little bit more than just a silver dot. Looks like it fits in a little bit more. The Rust-eze logo on the spoiler here looks awful. I'm just going to say that. I think it's just so like loosey-goosey, almost hand-drawn because of how uneven some of those edges are versus how crisply cut that Rust-eze logo looks on the Chinese version there. And fun fact, this is actually one of the first, if not the first, let me start over. This is one of the first, if not the first, versions of Lightning McQueen to include the Rust-eze logo on the spoiler. A lot of McQueens prior to the Tumbleweed version lacked that detail, and eventually obviously Mattel started correcting it on just regular McQueens, but they also started just doing it on all of the variants of McQueen. So in 2009 you got Tumbleweed McQueen, you got Impound Lightning McQueen. Both of those have the Rust-eze text there on the spoiler, which, for example, if you go back a couple years to, even Dirt Track McQueen, Dynaco Lightning McQueen. I know that's not just a typical McQueen, but he doesn't have the Dynaco text logo on his spoiler there, and that's actually still a problem recurring all the way to this day. So a little fun fact for you there. And yeah, I think the Chinese version did a better job on these bolts, these latches that connect the spoiler to the body. And I've talked about this when it applies in other videos. Just the silver looks so much better than this dark gray. Why are we doing that? It doesn't look good. You have the same issue there with the Rust-eze logo. And I also think The medicated bumper ointment text is less readable. They made it darker, so now the kind of letters all run together, just like a runny nose. Just, I may not know what that said if it was the first time I'm reading it. Obviously, I've seen this. I know what it's supposed to say. I know exactly what it says. But if I didn't, I'm not confident I'd be able to make that out, that it says bumper or ointment there. Also, they kind of narrowed the yellow stripe, so it's not as broad, it's not as big as it was before, which I don't think looks as good. This is a pretty bad Thailand variant. I wasn't expecting it to be so bad, I have to admit, so I'm a little disappointed. You do have the hooks, though, or the holes for the hooks in the base here for that aforementioned mater with the tow hook to connect so you could tow him, which would be kind of cool. Maybe a little bit better for the Cactus McQueen, which I'll show you guys here in a second. S31A is his date stamp, which would be read as S for 2023. 31, that's the 31st week then of the year at the A factory. That is just like the EA digits on the Chinese date stamps. Just disregard, it's always going to say A. But yeah, because this was an earlier release of the year, he was actually made in 2023. And then eventually this ticked over to T. And next year it will be, what comes after T? Are they going to go with U? I think it would be U if I know my alphabet correctly. But let's continue on here with the comparisons to a couple other Lightning McQueens, namely Cactus Lightning McQueen, because he got his first Thailand variant this year in not only a single but also a 2-pack, and I did review him early on in the year because he was a little bit more significant. I really think Mattel did a lot better with this Thailand variant than the Chinese, or not the Chinese, but the Tumbleweed variant. And I know Tumbleweed came, several years ago, so you can maybe say they've improved upon how they do things, and the only reason the Tumbleweed McQueen is still that bad is just because they don't really, once it's done, it's done. They're just going to re-release that same car. But the Cactus McQueen, I think they do a much better job of actually identifying these green blobs as cacti. I think that reasonably looks like a piece of cactus. It's textured as such. It's got the brown kind of dirt in there. It's got a color gradient. Looks so much better. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but, and the Chinese version did a better job here as well. But I think the Thailand version, you could argue that this is an improvement over the Chinese version. I just don't think you can with Tumbleweed Lightning McQueen here. But at the end of the day, yeah, I think this is a much better variant that, made its debut this year. And, hopefully we can continue to get some more Thailand versions of classic McQueens. Fingers crossed for Dynaco Lightning McQueen eventually, although it's not looking good because they've committed to just Bling Bling Lightning McQueen, who they released in 2022, I believe it was first, and now back for a 2-pack with Tex Dynaco in 2025. Big info dump, but hey, what the hell, I am just full of facts for you guys. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm not huge on it. I think the expression looks better by a significant margin. Everything else, though, I think is unfortunately a downgrade. I also have a couple other McQueens I wanted to show you, kind of more nature-y McQueens. Oh, speaking of which, Nature Drive Lightning McQueen, or as I referred to him as a kid, Leafy Lightning McQueen. I think Nature Drive is such a horrible, clunky name. Just call him Leafy Lightning McQueen. I mean, just fun. Like, Leafy McQueen just sounds fun. I think Take 5 a Day kind of dubbed him as such back in the day, because this was actually a canceled release from 2010 that got released in 2013. You have Lightning McQueen with Cone, kind of associated with Tumbleweed McQueen. They were both released within a couple years of each other. Both have an object on the hood or roof. They really did all of these McQueens really nice expressions. I think they did a great job with that. Here's the Spin Out Lightning McQueen Thailand variant that I also reviewed this year. So getting a lot of Thailand variants of McQueen done. I want to eventually do the Finish Line Lightning McQueen, but unfortunately I just don't have one I can open. I never found that car in a store. I just have the one that I pulled from the case he was in that I got at the time, and that one will stay in the package. He is a pretty rare Thailand variant, as all those go. But like I said at the beginning of the video, this is the 12 days of Christmas. This is day 6, and we have some shout outs to give. Alec Furpo suggested the Thailand variant of Tumbleweed McQueen, so thank you very much. Hope you're watching. Hope you enjoyed. And last but definitely not least is my good friend Gerald Quicktire 8396. Thank you both for this suggestion. You were the only two that did suggest Tumbleweed McQueen, so bravo to you guys. I was considering doing Edwin Cranks and Greta. I really want to do them here soon. And then obviously we'll have some new Thailand stuff as 2025 goes along. But that is all I have for you guys. Let me know in the comment section below what you are up to for the holidays. Or if that's a boring question, let me know who is your favorite version of Lightning McQueen from Cars 1. Because this is a very Cars 1 centric video. And I have a bunch of Cars 1 variants out here for show. Out of these, it's definitely Nature Drive Lightning McQueen. But my favorite version altogether, man, I have no idea. I'd really have to think about that one. So I'll leave it up to you guys. I'll task it to you guys. Thanks as always for watching. You know what? I want to show you guys something fun that I just got here. Because the Giga Haul with this won't come out for a while. Just wanted to show you guys for fun the Thailand variant of Lightning Ramon here. That will be coming out as a single in 2025. His first time from Thailand. This is a prototype I got. Not really sure if the thing there in the back is going to look like that. Almost looks like it glows in the dark. It's blue. It really kind of stands out. Looks ugly. Hopefully it's got a different color. Not only because that would make this more of a prototype for me besides the stamp, but also because I think that doesn't look that good. But yeah, Lightning Ramon got a nice new expression. He got a slightly new color that kind of matches the hydraulic version of Lightning Ramon that came out in 2015 in that 2-pack with Flow, with the Trey Pick Remember Flow, versus the original Lightning Ramon that's more of a metallic color. So just wanted to show you that, and maybe I'll show you guys something cool tomorrow because I actually have a couple more upcoming 2025 Thailand variants. I put it on my Instagram though, but if you don't follow that, here you have it. Thank you guys again for watching. Thanks to those who suggested this, and we'll see you tomorrow for day 7. Bye now.